Alright, let's get this operation started. Gonna put up a... let's do a 20-minute prediction. Let's get started on that. Alright, so this is one of those 4-faction coalition operations. Again, we've got... Wow. Hold on, let me update the title with that. We have literally about 200 people on right now. Technically, the TeamSpeak has about 198, so it's nearly 100. And someone else just joined that took it to 199. Hold on, I'm serious here. Look at that. That is actually nuts. So, we're looking at around 200 people for this mission. Triple digits on both sides. That's going to be pretty ridiculous. So, with that, we're going to be focusing on the AO here. Let me go ahead and read out what we have on both sides for that prediction. Blue 4 has the UA, which I believe is Ukraine, United Kingdom, France, and Spain. Poland has, Op 4 has Poland, Italy, Germany, and the USA. This is meant to be, I think, a coalition exercise. So, with that, again, nations on Blue 4 are Ukraine, United Kingdom, aka Britain, and then France and Spain. Op 4s is Poland, Italy, Germany, and the US. I think we've covered at least one of these other ops before. This is the third one, though. I did miss one. Thursdays sometimes get a little finicky. Otherwise, this is another simple cap zone with Blue 4 defending and Op 4 assaulting from the road here. So, big village in the middle. Actually, no, dare say a town. We've seen an AO done in here before in OFCRA recently. We have. It was individual positions in this town, now that I'm looking at it. So this is a bit of a rehash, but with 200 people, I mean, that's a lot to work with. So we've got a double MSR here and then multiple SSRs to get into the zone. We've got some villages on the outside to kind of create some buffer room for, I mean... 100 people is roughly 2 platoons and supporting assets if we're dealing with like 40 people a platoon. So there's going to be a lot to work with. Regardless, the zone is as follows. This giant red zone is a cap zone. It's going to be cashed in at the 40, 50, and 60-minute marks. It is worth a point each at those times. So 40 minutes is a single point, 50 minutes is a single point, 60 minutes is a single point. Whoever has more people in the zone at those nominals get the point. Then at 60 minutes, there is a have 40 players alive at the 60-minute mark. If it's 100 versus 100, that's pretty much 40% of your player base at that point. So expecting heavy casualties on both sides at that point. That's a pretty low bar to hit. That is worth 2 points at the 60-minute mark. And then you'll notice there's a purple zone right here. At the 70 and 80-minute marks, this is worth 2 points. And it's a set of 6 apartment complexes, and there might be something else right here. We see these little 2 gray areas here and 2 gray areas there. So, at the end of the game, it is also worth a single point, so 3 points for the red zone, 5 points for the purple zone, and then a 2-point check-in at the hour mark, which is 2/3 through the match. Big AO here. I mean... So roughly about a 12-kilometer distance. I was just doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared in my head real quick. But that is going to be pretty big because there's also multiple kilometers worth of distance where Op 4 could try to assault from various vectors here. We have the obvious southern approach where we have these forests here. It is bifurcated by an MSR though, so a little bit of a kill zone to be created there, but we have a tree line up here to move in on, multiple tree lines over here to move in on, another tree line on the opposite side of the AO, multiple tree lines on the still opposite side of the AO up here, and then we have some obvious tree lines over here, and then big open fields right here. So I'd imagine Blue 4 playing defense is probably going to be in this tree line here to hold this big zone here. We'll probably see some forces go all as far out as south of Gorovka to try to cover this route in. But we'll probably see some sort of defensive line for that area there. And then some vanguard forces to cover there, and then probably a light force here, and then a thin force here of some sort, as they try to essentially figure out where Op 4 is going to send their main forces in. But with 100 forces, I mean, it's not it's not going to be hard to hold all of that. So probably a full platoon in this main defensive line here, and then the remaining 60 just needs to be divided in all these other areas. It also depends on what vehicle assets they get. A single vehicle with like 2 people to act as spotters, put in key positions to hold entire kilometers of distance. That is also viable. We could also see OPFOR send a force up here and try to get some scouting information from these areas here. Just because it's an open kill zone doesn't mean they can't forego, you know, putting some forces down to actually scout those areas out. But that is going to be pretty hefty to work with there. I'm just rechecking the number. We're at 203 now. Look at that. You can see that number on the right side. So we're actually getting over 200 for this one. So I'll update the title. That means both sides, again, triple digits. Going to be a lot to work with here. We'll just have to see how things go. France and Spain in the same team. I know, crazy, right? If you want to follow the details, you can type !mission. I always have that linked. And, of course, POG will be on in about 4.5 hours from now. I don't know. This is going to be a pretty tough nut to crack for OPFOR, with Blue 4 having so much manpower and a lot of lines to easily pull back to and hold the inner zone. I think the only ways Blue 4 can lose is if they put forces out way too far and OPFOR circumvents them. When you get into platoon-on-platoon fighting, this is only going to be like 40% of the player base on both sides, by the way. Whoever wins is going to be the force that's able to outmaneuver the other, even on a defensive strategy. The only whatchamacallit? I'm losing track of the word. I guess the only exception, that's what I'm looking for, is when you have a force kind of on an overwatching position and most of the area around it is a kill zone. That way you can just hold that position and shoot off anyone that comes near you. But let's say Gorovka, we have a Blue 4 defensive line here. OPFOR's trying to assault. OPFOR can flank around like this, flank around like that. You know, they don't want to hit it directly on, but they still want to apply pressure, so they want to create an extended firefight from like back here where the terrain starts to go downhill. Or they've got this hill right here. They can also put pressure from there. But as they're putting that pressure, they want to send forces in the flank and then rout or eliminate that force. So the defenders, what they can do to counter that is have good flank security or send their own counterattacking forces down the same way to try to root out the attackers and push them back or wipe them. So defenders have the advantage of, if they have really good spots, like big overwatching buildings and whatnot, they can use that to their advantage. But Catch-22... if the attackers have, you know, AGMs or IFVs, anything with autocannons or splash damage, you name it, especially if they can bring those certain buildings down, then the defenders probably don't want to, you know, put all their guys on 1 or 2 buildings because it's just going to be annihilated. Otherwise, Orthy, thank you for the... what is that, Tier 2 in 3 months in advance. I appreciate it, my man, especially with the Tier 2. Hope you keep enjoying everything. We got a lot of cool stuff planned coming down the line over the next few weeks, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. But in terms of assets and what we have, it's on the roster in the mission document, but I always like to actually come on and see it for myself when we start the mission, because they sometimes change it. And Jesse's getting a little ahead of me. I haven't updated the menu command, but I will go ahead and do that now. I haven't updated anything new this week because I have a really, really cool surprise. And I can't wait to explain it, but let's just say it's going to be worth it. Also, next 2 weeks, DayZ will not be on a Friday. I am looking to make a replacement day for it on the weekend. Just give me till the end of the day to figure that out, because my Fridays are getting taken for some IRL stuff. Halloween parties in the works. But I'll update the schedule when I know what the changes will be. Otherwise, I will be right back 1 second. Oh, there we go. All right, I'll give it a second. And there's our 8-minute warm-up. So Blue 4 is going to be led by Wombat. Kaiser is going to be one of the Blue 4 platoon leads. Galski is also going to be another platoon lead. So that's the sound of T-Far lagging because 200 people just went into one game channel. And it's still updating. That's so funny. Depso is going to be leading Op4. And his platoon leads appear to be... I'm struggling to find them because they're not labeled. Cobra is one of them. We have platoon reserve on both sides as well. I think those are just spare riflemen that filter in. Looks like he didn't take a platoon lead, so Depso is going to be commanding one of the platoons and then giving orders to the second platoon, which is led by Cobra. Okay. Let's have a look at what we got here. All right, so for Op4, we have... potentially, this is the German forces because they've got their Panzerfausts. We've got some HK-416s that are souped up a little bit. And some 113s. I don't think this is German, actually. This is a different country. Because these are not 416s. These are something else. But they're using German AT and they do have MG3s. It's one of the other, it's the Italians, thank you. Because that, yep, that is the Italian battle rifle. Okay. All right, so they've got 113s with M250 cals on top of them. They do have an artillery tank. That's going to help them out. We have some drones in play. The marksman or scouting teams. Haven't really seen much use out of those guys yet, but I'm looking to have that change. Let's see if they can do better. This appears to be our U.S. forces, so we've got MRAPs.
Americans that are over here, come over here. Help me zip tie these fuckers. We're going to start acquiring loot.
No. That's American. These are Germans, because now we have the Iron Cross there. So now we get back into some of that gear. So we've got a motorized platoon, excuse me, of Germans. And they also have... What is this adorable little thing? It's a light tank of some sort. This is the... Isn't this the U.S. paratrooper tank that they discontinued? I think it's in the name, actually, right there. The Brooker? The Booker. Something like that. No, it's on the other side, too. Tell me if I'm wrong, though. But otherwise, more German forces there. And then our final group is it's that final country. I'm blanking on the name. Polish. Tell by the flag. So these guys are going to have ACRs, their own version of the PKM, chambered in 7.62x5.1. They've got 2 IFVs. And then their own version of the RPG and some of their own M72 laws. And then we see some IGLAs in play as well. All right. So, Op4 have an artillery tank, a light tank, and some AA, and then 2 IFVs to work with. It's the Polish IFVs, I blank on the name. Blue 4, meanwhile. Got to remember, those they're Ukraine, France, Spain, and Britain. So we see a Warrior IFV. These guys are British. You can especially tell with the L85s in play. Whoa. Silly bullpup gun. That is a single squad because now we're at the Ukrainians, I think, because these are AK-74s, and we have a mix of gear here. So some FN mags as well. Some NLAWs, so basically, you know, gear they have from other countries. We have a BMP-2 with the Metis launcher. We have another AA team. So this means both sides have drones, because I haven't seen a helicopter on Op4's side. Let me just scroll out to verify. Yeah, so I think those are just to engage each other's drone teams. Now, up the road here, we have G36s, which makes me think these guys are the Spanish. And then we have some 416s here as well. Because the French wouldn't use those, they'd use FAMASs. Or did they change their weapons to 416s? Because these might be French MRAPs. And then we got the wheeled tank. No, this is French. So they moved to 416s then. Because this is the AMX something, but it's a wheeled tank destroyer. And then over here we have more British stuff. So that might be a coalition of French and Spanish forces, because this appears to be a full platoon. Classic. of British forces, and they've got 4 bulldogs. 5 bulldogs with, okay, no, some of them have GPMGs. 4 have GPMGs. I thought the first one had a 50 cal. No, they're all GPMGs. Some of them are whistling, though. That's cute. And then they have their own artillery tank, but it looks like they're not fielding it today. That or they're giving it to somebody else. And then we have a 2-man scout team for the British forces there. All right. So they're popping smoke out. And hey, H&K, I mean, they're a good weapon company, that's for damn sure. I don't think these IFVs have any ATGMs. No, it's just an autocannon. So Blue 4, the Ukrainians, have a BMP-2 with a Metis launcher. However, the optics on all the other vehicles are superior to the BMP-2. Because the BMP-2 doesn't really have any magnified capable optics. So that thing's just going to be a missile boat and then probably used as a CQC point defense weapon. Whereas the Warriors got magnification, but the 2 IFVs that the Polish have also have a bit of magnification. So pretty simple strategy here. Have whatever platoon is going to try to break into the red zone get supported by an IFV on each side. Use the drone to kind of scout your route in, and then commit about 60% of your force in one direction to break into enemy territory, and then use the remaining 40% to test the other parts of the defensive line. And then your 60% will break in because you're assuming your opponent is keeping a more even spread of your forces there. And then just go right into the purple zone because that's what you're shooting for at the end of the game. What do I think makes H&K G36 platform so popular? I actually don't know off the top of my head. So, Cater, if you want to tell me, feel free. I mean, it does look cool. It does have a nice built-in sight. They do have, like, specific export variations of the model, which are also pretty dope. I don't know. The first time I ever ran into a G36 was playing Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. It was the common weapon of the rebels that you would fight in the campaign. Xbox version, by the way, not PC. I have no idea either. I just, based off of the fact I'm seeing multiple countries using H&K weapons, I was just making that assumption based off of that. It seems to be the official weapon for a few governments. Anyway, 15 seconds on the start. I'm going to be honest, I can't give an edge to either side. Both sides have artillery, IFE, some sort of tank support. The assets seem to be even. I'd imagine defensively, Blue 4 would use their artillery and their drone to spot for the artillery. Op 4 would probably use their drone to scout, and then as an artillery spotter as well, but they still need to use the drone to kind of scout the route itself. But, like, if Op 4 had maybe, like, an attack helicopter or something that could help, like, flush out Blue 4 positions, I'd be inclined to give Blue 4 more of an edge. But this is what 200 people on a server looks like. Just look at that scroll. So, anything can happen. Because even if one person goes crazy and kills, what, like 20 people in the game, there's still another 80 people on the side that can one-tap you, and if all of them are getting a decent, like, 4-to-1 kill ratio, you're still gonna lose. Because at that point, one person's work of getting 20 kills is only worth 5 people on the enemy team if they get 4 kills apiece. In small-scale stuff like FNF right now, where we're dealing with, like, 40 people a mission where it's 20v20, one person getting 20 kills, I mean, that's literally the game. Here, that's a drop in the bucket. So we have to see now how Blue 4 is going to divide up all their forces here. Mission has officially started. We do see some forces now proceeding down the MSR, but maybe that's just to then do a turn, which at that point, why not just take the left and beeline it down? But I digress. Yeah, it would just be to right here and then go in. So this makes me think they're going to actually send some forces down the MSR as interdiction forces, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Give the put your IFV, not the IFV, put the BMP2 with the Metis launcher down the road, find a good spot to camp with big open sight lines, and then just use that Metis launcher and try to either get a kill on a transport vehicle or a transport truck that would instantly cook it off and get multiple kills early on. Getting 7 or so kills in the beginning of the game, again, dropping the bucket, but if you then continue to be heavy on the attrition, you can get to the hour mark of this game with a solid, 10 to 20 player advantage. Final count, 56 blue 4, 44% op 4. Fair. There is always the bias that the defenders have a better advantage, especially with a town like this where you have multiple large sight lines you can utilize. However, that's going to be countered by the opponent's IFVs, but that's only if the IFVs are in a position to counter. IFV, infantry fighting vehicle. So this is going to be one of those ops where we're going to have to sit on our hands for the first 10 minutes, see where the forces fall. But simple strategy for Blue 4, make an all-around defense, hold your choke points, and you're good. Put a few forces on overwatch positions, you know, on top of tall buildings that they can then use to watch big areas at a time, but only commit, 2 people at most on those spots. Spread your forces out. That way, if an IFE pins a building down, you're not going to lose an entire squad to that. Op 4, simple strategy, 60%, 40% split. 60% of your force commits to one way that is not predictable, so I would commit the 60%, go all the way around the back, and then I would assault from the north. You have all these big forested areas. I'm not going to even look at it. I'm going to look out on the map first just to show it. And then you can use these to get in the northern side of town and then fight your way to the purple zone, because Blue 4 is probably not going to put a big amount of their forces on the opposite of the side of the AO to defend. Your remaining 40% as Op 4 is then split to harass other aspects of where Blue 4's defensive line is to keep them pinned. That way they can't pull forces back to where the main fight is if they're getting multiple reports of taking pressure from every other side. The fight then becomes, can Blue 4 hold out and properly sift through all the information and get the proper communication to then put the right amount of forces where they need to and cause enough attrition damage to prevent Op 4 from making any meaningful gains? And then on the flip side, can Op 4 break through and get enough forces in the capture zones and beat out whatever attrition that the defenders might inflict? And this is just going to be a complete wild card of who has the better, not just commander and plan, but who is going to be able to give more information to the rest of their side quicker than the other, so people in charge like the platoon leads and the commander can make those decisions and redistribute their forces accordingly. And OFCRA, funny enough, is not known for their ability to communicate, so it usually just turns into whoever has the best starting plan wins. So Wojciech looks like he got ejected from the vehicle and then run over, so he's dead. That's why I heard a little mic queue up. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself in TeamSpeak, otherwise we're going to start hearing, hundreds of dead people as the time goes on. But he'll probably get a respawn from the admins. It's always funny to see those little mishaps, though. So right off the bat, we see some forces deploying early. Looks like someone just waiting back here, maybe for hold positions or other assets to come up. Other forces are immediately going in. Blue 4, it looks like they're going to focus on just holding the red zone, but they might commit forces to go outside on those choke points. We do have one squad of forces coming around as well. So they're going to try to set up some interdictions. I think Blue 4 could have committed 10 to 20% of their force, so 10 or 20 people, so 2 or 3 of those vehicles out to set up random interdiction points, just to set up ambushes to try to snipe out vehicles going along roads. Because if one of those teams out of 3 is able to intercept a vehicle and, get a multi-kill, it can pay for the losses of the other 2 teams, or at least keep it even, because as defenders, you want to at least keep the number divide even for the early game, because the real attrition damage you're going to do is when Op 4 actually starts assaulting your positions and you're on top of your high rises and everything. But anything you can do to lessen your opponent's manpower in ways that you don't take many casualties of your own is the best bet. So ambushes along these roads, for example, on the side, ambushes on the edge of the map, you can pick 3 or 4 good positions and set stuff up. So, like, here is... Ah, they're putting the drone up. Okay, so this is going to be a scouting position. I think these guys could have gone for, you know, putting an ambush, like, somewhere along this route here. The river is not the best spot to do it because they're going to drive around you by default because there's a... Excuse me, not a river, a lake. But I think this is meant to be a backline scouting team, and they're just meant to stay hidden and then coordinate from whatever comes along the rear. So these guys are now leaving that road and heading south. I think they're going to try to set up some sort of overwatch position like over here to watch these open fields. And while that is a good idea, it's better just to watch the roads because with this much distance OPFOR has to cover, they're going to be using the roads mainly for speed bonuses. Unless they know their opponent have AT mines. If their opponent has AT mines, that sets a switch in people's heads and then they avoid roads. At least the good ones do. But Blue 4 had an opportunity to set up an ambush like at this T intersection with these buildings, and they could have immediately sniped, you know, at least this vehicle and forced that one to slow down, and could have picked up a few free kills right there. But they're instead going to go for Overwatch, maybe to try to watch this MSR. From there, I mean, that's a good tree line to watch it, but... I'm going to be honest, when's the last time in OFCRA you actually saw someone use the MSR to get into an AO when there were multiple choices? Interesting development here, though. OPFOR sending the forces down the road. Huh. Hey, Gondor, I sent you a mod set and a test file. If you have a second, could you boot that mod set on your server and then see if you can boot into the test file? It's to make... Perfect. Great. I just want to make sure everything works before I spend tonight making a mission file out of it. I got a really cool idea for it. It's going to be super spooky, but I just want to make sure everything works. So they were just patrolling down the road. Yeah, okay, they would have seen the vehicle. So they definitely spotted that team because they made the turn right here. I'm not sure if Blue 4 spotted them because I don't see forces turning around to look. So they know there's a Blue 4 position right here. So I'm wondering if they're going to try to call their arty on it or if they're going to have their tank come. But look at this. Also, yes, Epstein 1 and Epstein. God damn it. So we might see the tank come up and start harassing that position, but they know there's something there, so they might try to envelop and eliminate it. Position over here has a drone. If we were to select the drone operator and go into his third or first person, we can then see what types of drones they have deployed. So they've got a darter here. I see they also have some of these. Let's see if it's the AP or AT version. It's the AT version. All right. This is a crocus, or a crocus, if you're French. This is a artillery shell, and this is the det cord. Press these together, they go boom. That's meant to destroy IFVs, APCs, and disabled tanks. But it also works really well against infantry. Righto, Gondor. Then who do we have out of bounds here? Is this NASA? All right, so NASA's doing some admin stuff right now. That was probably to revive that guy. But if you noticed, they've completely hidden big chunks of the map here to basically prioritize the server resources on the rest of this area here. So we have OPFOR now doing a dismount right here. They might battle line and move down the street. This is going to be like a kilometer distance, though, for them to cover. But they might try to route that force. And then you got these guys taking this SSR. I called it, though. This would potentially be one of the main routes OPFOR takes in. Or they're going to bypass, go around, and then use the side routes. Blue 4, you can see they put a heavy amount of defenders, though, on the southern side. Leaving this middle area to the open, but... this could create a big gap for OPFOR to then slide in on this side. Still a potential benefit for Blue 4, though, is their forces are divided, so if Op4 takes heavy casualties on the first 40% of the force here, they still have a 50 to 60% force to fight right there. And at that point, though, Op4 is going to be moving into buildings, getting their own vantage points on some of these skyscrapers. Anything can happen, but so far I haven't seen anything roughly misplayed just yet, except Blue 4 could have done a slightly better job with setting up ambushes. And I think the tank... That is the tank, yep. So the tank firing up at that position because Op4 spotted it. We've got a strike team driving up to their position as well. These guys are getting pinned down. Some of their cover is getting knocked. They're doing some quick medical and trying to crawl away as Op4 is just rushing their position from a different side. You have these guys right here to basically stop them from driving down the road for cover to catch them in an ambush. That tank round just came in. I think it got a kill. It did. That 50 cal is underranged by at least 50 meters. If they just put the round in the same spot, though, it's going to get all these guys. There's the round. This is why, if there is something with an HE cannon firing at you, you don't run up to where the guy went down. You pick him up and you move him because you're just telling your opponent, hey, guys, they just ranged their gun in. Let's go to right where they ranged their gun in. Very silly mistake. Very silly mistake to make. I get it. You're in the moment. You're panicking. You're trying to get your buddy up. You're under fire. But never, ever, 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 when something has direct line of sight on you, move to where it is firing. Because it's just going to fire again if it sees you. Because the gun's already aimed to fire at that spot. You're just giving them a free kill. All right, Op4's doing a close dismount. They're going to be on top of Dimitri in a second, unless he immediately pulls away. But based off of the fact we saw these guys medicing each other, they're still trying to medic that dead guy. He's going to get jumped by these dudes. AT just came in trying to disable this MRAP. You got to remember it's mine-resistant, ambush-protected. That's what MRAP stands for. So it'll be able to tank a rocket. It's going to take like a javelin to stop it. These guys seem satisfied with that. Not even verifying that it's destroyed. They think it's going to be disabled. That's a bit of a misplay. These guys should be assaulting and hitting these guys. What I think is going on in their mind is if they disable this vehicle, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kilometers from the red zone. They can simply be bypassed. But the mistake is not verifying that this engine is at least smoking on the front. They've weakened its armor, they've damaged it, but it's still going to drive. And this has allowed Dimitri to now come in and medic his other buddy. But we got this other team now coming up. They're going to clean things up there. Tank is now firing again. It's gotten a bit closer. That 50 cal was a lot more accurate that time. And Dimitri gets his just reward. An HE, I think that was an HEAT shell, straight to the ass, blows him away. Poor buddy. Ready, trying to crawl away the 50 cal, trying to make mincemeat of him. 50 cal's range, he's gotten hit at least 2 or 3 times. Now the 50 cal is overranged. More shots from that team. They are pinning this group down. They even fired some AT up at him. The thin wooden walls are preventing these guys from crawling, or excuse me, they're allowing the bullets to fire through, but it's making this really bad fatal funnel for Blue 4. Snatch Bear is stuck. And he seems unable to get up. They're trying to fire smokes to cover their position. Op4 sending this other team down. Op4 have now deployed a big chunk of their forces in Gorovka. And Blue 4 have a very big gap in their line right there. I'm going to quickly check. We see the drone now checking the rear of these forces. We might see these guys get closer to deploy their Crocus drones on the rear of this dismount point. But OFCRA looks like they're going to be testing in 2 separate spots. But really good drone placement for Blue 4. They should have seen this force coming. However, I haven't really seen much adapt in terms of sending forces over to plug this gap. That gap being right here. All right, so it looks like he was able to make it back to his vehicle, but then he was taken out by forces here. We got GLs landing around this position. Irwin here now trying to suppress with his 249. Actually, no, they're British. That would be a mini-me. No, these are 416. So this is the Spanish, maybe. Or the French. That was an HE shell that just came in, but you can see this thing has tanked 3 AT shots. Beautiful marksman shot there. Takes out Snodgepair. Another marksman shot comes in, knocks Irwin. Schrodinger takes a headshot. Barros showing off that G28. Double taps one of them as well. Snodgepair still unconscious. You only have Waduni. Immediately takes a shot from that marksman, but he's able to shrug it off. So far, this entire Blue 4 team has been wiped. With no OPFOR casualties. A perfect game so far for OPFOR. That's going to change, of course, but this was how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then initial 4 of here. So 9% of Blue 4's force taken out with no losses for OPFOR. That is horrible for a start for the defenders, but that can quickly change. 9 people is only a drop in the bucket. Right, Gondor, but are we good? Whatever, I'll just check later. That doesn't need to be answered now. Oh, there will always be PID issues. Hey, look, PID issues! Yeah, they just started engaging each other. Oh my god. So a little bit of miscoordination between the two OPFOR forces there. Want to quickly check Bluck's camera here. Crocus still hasn't been deployed. We just had to jinx him, I know, right? When Dooney's trying to find an angle on any OPFOR that'll run in, he might get the advantage of hitting somebody. They're double tapping bodies. They might have seen Snodgepair get up for a second, only to then knock him out. Like I said earlier, OFCRA usually does have comm issues, and with that comes PID issues. All right, looks like he did bandage himself. He was leaking a bit of blood. We see 2 bandages displayed. But he is essentially surrounded. He might be able to get 1 or 2 pickoffs, but then he's screwed. He's got 1 open area to exit to, but it's going to be covered. I don't know. With OPFOR in a really good staging zone, even though they're piecemeal, they just need to be told, hey, go in through this area and you're good. But if this force gets sent in through this area, that's going to keep these guys pinned and allow for this force to get in the middle. If OPFOR can bypass a lot of Blue 4 and get to the purple zone and hold till the end of the game, that's an instant GG. Waduni's going to get cold feet and start moving around. That's going to lower Waduni's chances of survival here. He is hurt. You see him doing that limp there with his feet. He gets spotted. Hit at least 3 times there. I'm waiting to see a grenade come in. Waduni does get a knockout. The grenade comes in, though, and takes him out. It looks like these guys successfully PID'd each other. Sorry for accidentally booping my mic there. Body is double tapped, and that is all she wrote. All right, checking back on the drone team. They seem adamant about staying here. The starters moved over to that crossroad. We have this other darter watching this position. 113's ahead for this OFCRA element here. They've got their entire 113 mechanized team up here. This is the Spanish, if I recall correctly, with these weapons. That was an artillery shot. Round is up, looking at that angle. They are attempting to range shots on this force. So if we were to look, we already saw the darter up here, so I imagine it's going to be spotting. They now need to adjust because the wind is blowing the shots off target. So it's accurate to where they're trying to engage, but now they need to adjust about 300 meters northeast. But if they waste all their rounds without making adjustments, then it's not going to do anything. That round comes close. Takes out a few buildings around, lands right next to this 113. They were so close. Let's see if they can make adjustments. See, when you're doing this type of artillery work, you generally want to walk the rounds about 10 to 20 meters apart. That way you're not landing them all in one area, you're spacing them out so you increase the likelihood of you hitting something. I heard the artillery round go again. So I think they're making a micro adjustment from where they fire. They're just adjusting it slightly to the east. The infantry's going to be running. I do agree. Watching VODs is nice because, especially in some PvP matches, especially in FNF, there is a lot of downtime sometimes, and I'm even bored as hell commentating. Which I know is horrible to say. I'm supposed to keep you guys entertained, but that's the honest truth. So you saw them adjust. It looks like they adjusted a little too much, but they're still landing in the relative area of trying to hit these vehicles. But again, they want to walk the rounds around so it's not landing on the same spot. Because you can see the difference of the two rounds landing is only like a few meters. So you want to spread it out intentionally so you can cover a wider area. I agree, you would think they would get in the vehicles and move them away instantly, but guess not. Now, I could argue that there's a macro strategy. That was a good round, but everyone's in cover. But the drone should be following where the infantry are going, so they should be walking the rounds to follow the infantry. But you could argue, even though I know this is not the case because they don't think this far ahead, they're intentionally leaving the vehicles out to bait the artillery tank to fire at them. But at that point, why not just load them all up in the vehicle and slowly drive away and make them think they can hit your vehicle with artillery? And then just slowly drive and make them wasted on that, you know? Oh, but there are things that people don't think about in Arma. And that's why I'm so excited for Pog tonight. I spent 2 hours last night chilling with Valkyrie, and I showed her one of the most sadistic systems I've ever made. And the really, really funny thing about it is it doesn't kill players. It's going to piss them off, though. But it won't kill them. So, one of these chuckleheads just bad fragged and killed one of their own guys. 2 of their own guys. Centurion threw a bad frag and killed 2 of his own dudes and knocked one out. So, Centurion is that local spotting artillery with the grenade. But I do love seeing, looks like this already is trying to range down on that force now. Quick map update. This force is still slowly moving up on this area here. I guess they're going to try to push up to past the airport and then follow this route down. Artillery's continuing to fire. And then this side force is mounted up and is convoying out with the tank to essentially maybe come along the northern side here. We do have a single reservist, though, driving out, though. He's on a stroll. He's going to probably get murdered by the tank, but we'll keep an eye out. I want to look over at one of the Blue 4 drone operators here. I want to see if they've adjusted. Nope, they just still have the darter drone ranging those shots. And then we have artillery for Op 4 standing by as well. But here's the crazy thing. I mean, Pong is a pay-for-pain campaign. I made the system for free. You already have Shaheeds for our resupply, Vix. What else could you do? You'll find out. But yeah, tonight's update is my gift to the viewer base. Now, I will also say this. To 90% of the player base, it will inadvertently affect you. But to about 10% of the players, it will absolutely affect you. But the only person it's probably going to murder, this is the bonus, chat. The only person that's going to outright murder is Dream. That's the real cherry on top. The only person that's actually going to get killed by it is Dream. So feel free to say your yays, celebrate in chat. I have found a great way to just blow him away. But I will explain while we're running the POG op how I came up with this system, why I came up with this system, and how this is going to adjust how POG is going to play the rest of this campaign. Because I'm hyping this up, but in reality, it's not going to affect a lot of how POG's going to do things. But I'm keeping it intentionally vague because we have some people in the viewership right now that are going to play tonight, and I don't want anyone to know what it is yet. But you're going to know within 10 minutes what it is. I'd argue even 5. But Dream is going to get blown out of the sky within probably 5 or 10 minutes. And here's the thing. It's not some crazy custom composition. It's not some, oh my god, super weapon. I'm going to attach a VLS target marker to Dream's plane and fire cruise missiles at him. No. No, Dream is going to die to something simple. Great arty shot there, but the it has to be firing HE because that should have cooked that off. That or it landed within the compound here and the walls absorbed the shot. Also, it is 100% not bullshit tonight. That's another crazy thing about it. 100% not bullshit. Hold on. Sorry, I got a random pop-up from something. Wanted to take care of that. Is it me, RC? Nope. 100% AI. 100% AI and 100% fair game. I didn't add any crazy custom composition. Didn't add anything crazy. Everything that was added is from what Op 4 already had. So we see the artillery trying to hone in on the infantry over here. They're just a little off. Scrolling out, looks like this team entirely bypassed. They're going to come in from the north. They're going to open up on this side. And then this force is going to try to pull as much force from the purple zone out to fight them here. And then this force is going to try to flank, but they're going to have all this blue fort to contend with. A pet grub? No, 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 no. Look, if you want to see it, you're going to have to come and watch POG tonight, or watch the VOD, which will be, let's see, I think we have a 3-day VOD backlog at the moment, so the POG VOD should come out Sunday. Because tomorrow will be the second Ghost Recon op. Saturday will be the Star Wars Pay for Pain, which, oh, I'm so pissed. Like, part of me is so pissed off about the desync issues we had. The first one was my fault, but the major one that was like 90% of it, that was, oh, that was something I wish I was told about. And I should have been told about, but I wasn't, because they didn't know to tell me. And it's just like, God damn it. But we could have avoided that. I could have completely avoided putting an objective on that river and instead put something deeper in. Look at that, though. Op4's artillery is now firing on Blue 4. Look at that. The difference in artillery precision. That is the difference between someone that knows what they're doing and someone that does not with the artillery tank. Holy fuck. Now, granted, it looks like Op4 have taken some casualties from the artillery. We got a few people that have gone down over here and all around. But now, Op4 is also getting some KIAs from it. Look at that. PHK, Shay, Rigel, and Mr. Cool all dead. Another guy over here dead. That is 6 kills to the artillery. With at least a third of the ammunition that they've used compared to Blue 4. Then again, we got 2 right here. We have 3. 4. I might have spoken too soon. Okay, 7 kills so far for Blue 4's artillery. Never mind. Only one of them got credited, though. And that is Deflaw and Fast Sugar. But look at that. 4 kills listed with the RD tank. The rest are bleeding out, and they're moving it up. Beautiful play right there. Tank Destroyer is also coming around. So already thinning out both sides. Great to see. Wombat, it looks like he's personally driving that artillery tank around, but he's gotten about 7% of Op4's forces, but we need to see more. Yeah, I didn't notice it, but apparently Artie was actually getting some pickoffs here and there. I just didn't notice because it was just, you know, like a guy or two from here, a guy or two from there, a guy or two from there. So, good work on both sides. Usually artillery is wasted in PvP, but today that is not the case. I love how the reservist literally drove up to where an entire squad got wiped, and he's still driving. See Op4 coming through this industrial area. They've completely bypassed the airport. Both IFVs supporting, but look at where the Blue 4 tank is. Oh, those IFVs are under a major threat if the tank destroyer's right there. Op4's light tank is coming in from the north. This tank could do some pretty significant damage here. But we do see that IFV right in front. I don't know if they're repositioning because they saw that tank or if they're just moving out. But it's a good thing they're moving because they cannot fight that tank one-on-one at that range. So all the tank has to do is move. Hold up! Tank ground goes by. I think it missed. Otherwise, we'd see that in a fireball. So they did spot this IFV driving. Now Blue 4's played their hand. Op4 heard that big explosion. They know there's a tank somewhere up here. And now they got to be a lot more cautious moving in. Here comes the reservist coming in from the rear. Light amphibious vehicle. I like to call it a tank. I mean, it's technically a tank destroyer because it's wheeled with a giant cannon on top, but it is also technically a scout vehicle. It's weird. The French make weird shit, okay? Like, for example, the FAMAS. It fires in 3-round bursts, but it only has a 28-round magazine. 28 is not divisible by 3. Why? French. French. Bonjour, Eiffel Tower baguette. Oui, oui. I can say that. I took 5 years of French. All right? And as someone that took 5 years of French classes in high school to get an IB diploma, I can tell you that is exactly how they speak. Anyway. No, you're right. It is a 25-round mag, not a 28-round mag, but still, not divisible by 3. Sapphire asking me if I'm all right. All right. Yeah, I'm good. It's a quitting talk. So we see OPFOR now sending their first force over. They're testing this route. But yeah, Blue 4, the closest force, got annihilated by RD. And that was intentional, so there wasn't anything to harass this OPFOR group when they come in on this line. So now everything else is just going to drive up this area and dismount. Because Blue 4 doesn't have anything watching this obvious route in. The closest thing got hit with RD. But even then, there's nothing over here to watch the other side, so it creates this big hole that OPFOR is just going to push their forces right through. Yes, they've taken a decent chunk of casualties, but it doesn't matter. Interesting. So, these guys have now are trying to deploy the Crocus drones right behind this line, but now they're moving forward. I think the default range of the Crocus AT drone is 1.5 kilometers before it loses its guidance. So they move to be about 1.5 kilometers in here, but now these guys are moving. Okay. I was expecting them to go into the AO, but it looks like they're going to go into where they hit the artillery, but driving blindly right in. Remember those mistakes I was talking about that people make? Yeah, this is one of them. It's, both factions are on, all 4 factions are on both sides. What are you doing? That's a D-track. 50 cal's now going to penetrate into the 113s. Yeah. Yeah, that was unironically one of the stupidest things I've seen in OFCRA in a hot second. Yeah, guys, why go the safe route when you can just charge into where you know your opponents are? Because they have a drone. They saw the drone hit these positions. They saw the fortifications here, and then they just drove in. They didn't drive into here, by the way, and do a dismount and immediately pushed out. They drove to the other side where they could be assaulted from other positions and proceeded to dismount in front of them and die. What? But again, this is all moot. Why not just go up the damn... I'm going to assume Depso told them to go up this way, and they just went up the wrong way on accident. It's called a Leroy Jenkins. Yeah, you're right. Now this poor SOB's in here trying to leave. His engine's been shot out. 40 minutes have passed, excuse me. Blue 4 maintained the number advantage into here. I just heard something fire. Oh, all right, OPFOR's artillery is now landing around these areas here. They've actually gotten some kills. See some machine gun fire being traded. But OPFOR is starting to get a heavy amount of forces in the zone here. But will that change in the next 10 minutes? So all of the gains OPFOR had made just got mooted by that. So now the numbers are even on both sides. That was kind of dumb. Looks like the tank's trying to pursue an IFV that's falling back. Blue 4 trying to fire some counter artillery. It's not counter battery because they're not firing at the OPFOR artillery position. But it looks like they're trying to get some shots on the advancing artillery. Not a bad call there. You can see where the shots are coming in. So it looks like they're aiming for this force. It lands very, very close. But they have to be walking the rounds up. Looks like no, he's aiming at the same spot. AT just blindly fired into the positions over here. Again, you want to walk the rounds up and down. I'll tell Wombat that if he DMs me, because I think he's the one gunning it. But this is just wasting ammo after the second shot. Big force coming in from the north, though. They are already starting to shoot at what they perceive as defenders over here. There are some, though. I think they see the spent AT launcher because this fired at them. It's an empty tube, I think. So it attempted to engage maybe the infantry or their vehicles or the tank destroyer that's now camping up there. And the IFV got spotted by that Blue 4 tank destroyer and toasted. Beautiful play by that three-man team. And OFCRA sending the rest of their platoon in where they got wiped to get wiped? Okay. Why? What? What? Like, you know this force is going. You know that's a bad zone. So why not just dismount and come up here? Like, what? What is the call? You have this loaded. Send in the second wave. AT misses. The platoon lead is still alive. The gunner just got killed by a 50. Unironically, this might be an early GG. Because OFCRA has lost 30% of their force over here, and the only gains they made was about a 7 or 8% loss in Blue 4s from the artillery strikes. What Platoon should be coordinating is already hitting this spot, because Artie's already pinpoint. I'm confused. I'm assuming the platoon lead, though, doesn't have a radio because he had a carry-all instead of a radio backpack. So, I don't know. Now, we've got some artillery smoke coming down in this position. OFCRA might also be out of artillery shells because the numbers might be uneven. Look at this, though. This had to have been, like, some form of grenade or something coming over. These guys are all in the drag animation. Ah, no, I see it. Giovanni found an angle and killed that one guy, but he didn't get the other kills, so that means something else knocked these out. Really smart. You can tell this is arty smoke, though, because here's a normal smoke grenade. And then you see how this is much bigger? That's a 152 artillery shell smoke. Oh, this is weird. That's why I like covering PvP here, because sometimes we see some really weird asinine calls. And hey, sometimes it's pure miscommunication. So DeFraw is just doing some recon around, and Fast Sugar is the one actually handling the artillery calculations. We see some... Nope, Blue 4 still holding this position. OPFOR are going to continue to assault it. OPFOR have gotten on top of this hill here. And they're slowly knocking Blue 4 players and causing them to retreat. Look at that. The tank destroyer, though, is being called to provide some quick support. OPFOR's tank is nearby, though. Maybe Blue 4 spotted the tank and they're trying to call the tank up to deal with it. This tank is under AT threat. We got AT right there. And a Maz. Tank's holding the hill. Enlock comes in, smacks into it. Good night. Beautiful shot by Wilkie. He doesn't get credited the kills, though, which is unfortunate. But that is Blue 4's tank destroyer down. Now, Blue 4 still have a BMP-2 in the fray. They're using these large streets to basically have large angles of, avenues of fire for the Metis launcher, which fires missiles. So platoon leads pulled back. They still have a few guys in this vehicle. They might just mount up with them and then move in on foot. These guys have completely bypassed and are now potentially trying to come on the rear of this position. This, I think Blue 4 is going to win that fight. But we see a big chunk of Blue 4's line is now pulled back to potentially help plug the gap on the north. OPFOR needs to make up for that southern attacks failing. This force needs to continue to bulldoze, but Blue 4 is doing a great job of pulling their forces back. And then this side is a little... I can't tell you who's winning yet. We do see casualties. Look over here, though. We got a big chunk of casualties that have happened over here. Some even further back there. But Blue 4, they did take a big chunk as well. So, looks like it's even trading. Watch pulls back. Needs to throw a grenade. It barely goes over. That's going to double tap Valentin. It doesn't matter. Well, if he didn't get the grenade kill, Toxic would be toxic and kill his buddy. Beautiful headshot by Watchdek there. 2 credited kills. Have a knockout up there, and Gamble is still looking down. He doesn't realize he's under threat from his flank. IFV firing AT. Fires from range, but looks like the IFV ducks. And even then, it was just barely outside of that 750-meter range of the RPG before it just dets automatically. Watchdek gets the flank on Gamble, takes him out. Heartseer still on Con. And the first part of that forward position has been knocked. Watchdek takes a single headshot from somebody back here. Digord credited with the kill. You still have the crew burning in that vehicle. Looks like this assault force is broken up in 2 parts. We have a knockout back here on Kremet. That OPFOR player gets double tapped as he's knocked. The guy on the front is knocked. That's Rixu. He's got the LR, though. Cheeseburger attempting a flank. Warrior IFV up here. Looks like it's harassing, or at least attempting to harass some of the infantry here. The round sounded like they were landing short, though. There's a lot of smoke in the way. Bye, Eisenram. Sometimes players do not hear when the grenades land next to them. Or they choose to ignore it, thinking they'll be fine. Hearing more AT fire up here. 50-minute mark has been passed. Blue 4 have 2 points now. There was something smoking down here. I think Blue 4 stole this 113. And it got blown up by possibly friendly forces or detonated by artillery. Because these guys are still hanging back, and then this team is still over here. What are you doing in the middle of the fucking road? What? 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 Every time I look over to these people, there's something wrong. I'm sorry, but you have all of these buildings you can move up. Why are you in the middle? Where's Pierce? Pierce has to be in charge of these guys. That's the only way it makes sense. This poor bastard. Yeah. Yeah. Both of them just got headshotted by the same bullet! Did you see that ricochet? Holy fucking shit! No, please do not push up there while it's getting suppressed. Please, please pull back. I am begging you. This is a kill zone. 2 of your friendlies have died. Do not push this. That way! No, don't roll in. Oh, you. You are just a treat. Come on, buddy. No quick peek. Don't tell him to take a quick peek. Crawl away. Yes. 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 Thank you. Okay, we saved one. Did you just shoot him? Because no one's shooting here. You just shot the shit out of him, didn't you? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. No. And again, they could have just gone up here and avoided this. They could have just gone in the red side. Make it make sense. What's cooking over here? The IFE? Nope, a bulldog. That's probably an AT launch I heard earlier. Humvee got blown up. Op Force sending the rest of that Northern Force in. Southern Force has a big amount of dudes. No fucking way. Op 4 got wiped here. They had to have pulled back and regrouped. No fucking way they got wiped. Hold on. Hold on. I'm bypassing that silly platoon. They wiped! Did a Blue 4 come out and trade with them? They wiped! Op 4 had a 2-to-1 advantage attacking these guys, and they wiped! Oh, no! Sloppy platoon lead, just dismounting a force right here. And what is this? Is this Wombat? No, it's Galesky. One of the platoon commanders just saw them all dismount right here. So they just rushed in. The artillery tank's right here. I'm not sure if they hear the engine over theirs. This would be an easy AT shot if they noticed. Look at this Blue 4 defensive line, though. It's slightly on a hill. They've got a really great coverage position of this spot. That would need to be flanked. Blue 4 have 2 defenders left. Op 4 sending another 4 guys up here. Heartseer still unconscious over here. He's going to be forever uncon. They find Wojtek's body. I get it, though. This is an easy spot to then bypass to over here. We got Pro Hunter now coming up. He's not going to be able to get access to that building from that side, though. Oh, they spot Gale, probably because the antenna is sticking above the window. I think Blue 4 won. Beautiful keyhole right there. But just look at the number difference of Blue 4 versus Op 4. I unironically think Blue 4 might have won this one. I was about to say, if you poke out and get blown up by your own grenade, you just panic shot. Is that a drone? Well, Pro Hunter gets the kill there. A drone just flew in. Why not just hit the infantry with it? Why would... This is like the last place they want to go, so the vehicles become moot at that point. Why hit the vehicle? What? Why? All right, meanwhile, these guys pushed in. Looks like they took 1 casualty, but they got both KIAs there. They're double tapping some of the bodies from the sounds of things. You know what I want to see? This thing start direct firing these apartments. They wouldn't relocate. Their orders are to hold these areas here. Another drone. So this is the Blue 4 drone team. Tackle's got balls of steel to be hearing that and going like, nah, I'll be fine. Because you don't know if that's friendly or not. I just look at the sky and go, ah, shit. Does it look like it's coming towards me? No? Okay, I won't shoot it. You missed. Please blow up these apartments. Too late. You know, taking 3 AT rounds actually isn't bad. I expected this thing to cook. Sometimes my powers frighten me. Sometimes the ability to caster curse is scary. Because normally it would just blow up. Now, yes, he did live, the artillery gunner. But now you're going to start seeing Blue 4. This is a panic call for Blue 4 to pull all their forces back. Op 4 have the number advantage in this zone, but Blue 4 can just pull everything back and overwhelm them. You're now starting to have dismounts come into this area. Nah, Ian, give me 80 bucks and we can have a squad come in every every 2.5 minutes for you. Oh, Ian, did you ever get back to me on the whole caps thing? Or are you foregoing that? It's okay if you are. It's just I remember you asked that earlier, and I don't think we ever addressed it. Beautiful GL! Because that's what you want to do. If you're under GL fire, you want to get out of the mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicle and die to the GLs getting shot at you. Or you could just drive away. But no, we ain't thinking like that. We thinking silly tactics. Op 4 lost a whole platoon to shenanigans earlier. Op 4 still have their tank, though. Got the, no, that's the warrior coming in. It's gotten a kill, though. I don't know what it picked off. Dropping off infantry. They might try to get in this high rise. Not the best vantage points, but still a tall building in the AO. All right, Ian. I'm actually kind of impressed that Op 4 is intending to assault this head on. So 60-minute fired. I didn't see cash-in time, cash-ins though for either side for their 40 players alive. So now it's whoever controls the purple zone. And Op 4 and Blue 4 are both rushing forces towards it. I'm waiting to see this dive bomb. Like Ride of the Valkyries style. Right into that vehicle. AT just got fired in that building, getting a knockout. AT, again, great use as a shock weapon. Op 4 charged a guy up and he got killed. Yeah, that's like running up to an enemy trench. Like, I don't know. Blue 4 also having people running out in the open and getting ambushed, but it looks like they got one of the shooters there. But they've been pushed back. Op 4 have the number advantage in the purple zone for now, though. Enlaw fires, misses the tank. Tank panic firing in return. Oh! He's got a random pick off through the bushes and double tapped a guy through like 3 sets of bushes. That's the power of suppression. You did not just kill your... Everyone point and laugh. Everyone point and laugh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, guys, please. The gunner, I think, just got killed off on the tank because its symbol's now missing. The Warriors lighting it up. AT drone coming in. Just as it misses, a Menace round comes in and hits the tank. More AT. You missed. Okay, never mind. That's the... So that's the Warrior. Where did that AT round come in from? Where's the BMP-2? It's a Bulldog. It's the little tank that could. Warrior pulls off because it was taking too much heat. You can see it's a little tinted darker. It's tinted darker, which means it was taking damage. Look at this, though. Op4 losing number control over here. No, it's 3-3. No fucking way. No fucking way did a... It's even funnier the second time! I can't make this shit up. I actually cannot make this shit up. Yeah, because he was one of the 3 in the zone, and now Op4 have the number advantage because it's 3-3. He just... There has... Yeah, no, okay. There has to be, like, some invisible wall up here that auto-dets the AT. That's the only way it makes sense. Because 2 people wouldn't do that, right? Right, chat? 2 people wouldn't go up to the same rooftop and kill themselves with AT. Right? Smile, please? That tank cooked off another vehicle. Is that the BMP-2? Yep, that's the BMP-2. So that's where the Menaces were coming from. And she's still trucking. All right, Op4 managed to get a flanking team into this group. And an IFE came in and supported in suppressing that position so Op4 could run the rest of their infantry up there. Blue 4 still have a big chunk of infantry, but they're dealing with some Op4 infantry on the back line. Op4 might be able to still win this. Damien, how you doing, buddy? Were you just playing? Simon fucking Cowell, that's cute. More AT just launched. I don't know what the target was. Oh, that was a frag grenade. You would have had at least one of them. How you doing, broski? I have watched a lot of funny things happen this round. An entire platoon killed themselves. 2 people went out to the same rooftop, fired AT, and killed themselves. I'm doing all right, man. It's just there's been a lot of funny things that have happened. Wait. Okay, Bluck's the drone operator. So the darters are still up, but I think he's the one that accidentally rammed the Crocus AT drone. And he has a negative vehicle kill as well, which means he might have killed a Blue 4 vehicle in accident. But a lot of the vehicles are coded as Blue 4 for both Op 4 and Blue 4. Because NATO nations are usually set as Blue 4. Op 4 Eastern European nations are usually set as Op 4. Like Russia, for example. Alright, so Blue 4 committing a lot of resources to fighting these guys, but that might allow for Op 4 to keep the number advantage right here. Still got Major Con on the side over here. Some big ricochet. But now Op 4 have a direct line to put a good chunk of their forces in the purple zone. Blue 4... I don't know. With the recent fighting, they did have the number advantage. They might have lost it. OFCRA might come back from the brink here. Buck might have been crippled, though. IFE just blitzing in. Only the crew in there, though. No one in the Vic itself. That's fine. Ash is just going to corner camp. That's the thing about once you finally get in this zone, there's nothing to do but corner camp. Look at how much Blue 4 manpower is being wasted to hit this team. That's causing Blue 4's assault to be defeated in detail. And that's where OFCRA might still win this. Well, that one OFCRA Chucklehead went on his own and got annihilated. Points-wise, I don't know who got the 2 points because it didn't say anything for the medics, but Blue 4 have 3 points right now. And in less than a minute, we're going to potentially see 2 points go on to OFCRA because they should have the number advantage here. So that means potentially OFCRA might be able to beat out Blue 4 here in the point deviation. You got to remember, though, the points, it's now 2 points per 10 minutes in the purple zone. So if Blue 4 doesn't come in and retake control of the purple zone within the next, like, 12 minutes, you might still see OFCRA win this one. I'm assuming both sides ran out of grenades, but you see them kneecapping here. Let's see where they landed some shots. IFE has come around. Now harassing some of the forces that are garrisoning around this spot. Cobra, despite being the platoon lead of the guys that got mostly wiped over here, is still alive. And he is making up for the fact he's lost his entire platoon because of the sheer amount of Blue 4 he's pulling away from the assault in the purple zone. This might be what saves it for OFCRA. Because Blue 4... Oh, he's causing a blue on blue! Someone got killed off right here. No, Cobra then starts shooting. So this platoon, despite getting wiped, its platoon lead might be making up for it. Grenades getting thrown up into this position. Wow. He used his platoon as a blood sacrifice. I believe it. Completed by East because of the numbers in the tank. So now they're starting to score points for this objective. So now the score is at least 3-2. I don't know who got the 2 points for having at least 40 people alive. I assume both sides. So he's a Cobra commander. Oh! Looks like he's a dead Cobra commander now, though, but he did his job. Now the IFE is going to be harassing this infantry force. These guys are going to be sitting down and doing medical. This team lost. It had 4 people. It's down to 1. That might have actually just saved it. Because now Blue 4's only choice is to trickle in. OFCRA have the number advantage in this zone. The only way OFCRA loses now is if they just get overwhelmed. And someone delivers a pretty devastating multi-kill. But it is not going to be that Blue 4 player as he is just taken out. Twig on 4 kills, gets the kill there. And you still have that OFCRA tank to worry about. Number divide here, though, is a little worrying. Blue 4 have a good chunk. Did Ash just come out and kill those other 2 OFCRA? I think he did, because now I don't see OFCRA bodies. Blue 4 now have control of the zone. Can the IFE come around and assist, though, or is it still going to be circling? This might be where it turns around. What are you... What? Oh, it's the scouting team. Yeah, never mind. The scouting team's useless. I'm going to be honest. It was useless in the first op I saw it. It's useless in this op as well. Depso, did you order the platoon down here to push the position you hit with Artie? I really want to know. I really want to know. Because they literally, you lost an entire platoon to stupidity. Speaking, one of you just threw a frag and nearly blew up your own buddies. That's unfortunate. Because here's the thing, they could have used this road, stayed on the left side, and completely bypassed where it got artilleried. But instead, they literally charged into where the artillery landed. They went past it over here, got lit up by a position over here, and they lost 2 squads within 30 seconds. It was bad. You lost at least 30% of your manpower there. And that 30% of the manpower is needed in this final fight here. This tank does not give a fuck. That is the 3rd or 4th artillery round. Sorry. That is now the 4th rocket round I've seen this tank take. The gun might be disabled, though. Because the top turret's facing down, and now I'm not seeing that top turret move with the main gun. Great people not experiencing PvP, that's fair. Based off of what I saw. Hey, Whale, how you doing? Yeah, so that's why the tank's blacked out, is because the gunner got shot and his body is in a prone animation as debug. So they're bailing out now because the tank might have just gotten cooked. But now OFCRA have control of this zone. That's drained a lot of AT resources, though. This IFE might be able to drive around with impunity, and that's going to stop Blue 4 from advancing more forces in the zone. I hear a Crocus. That was some Tom and Jerry Looney Tunes having clown shit right there. Oh my god. Oh. And it is so rare to see good drone plays like that. But damn, that is what I was waiting for this entire match. That was beautiful. I want to see more of that. Please, one of you play as a drone operator while I'm streaming. Tell me you're going to do shit like that. I will watch you make those plays. God, I love that. You were tabbed out? Oh, you missed something beautiful. Again, shock weapon AT. Love it. Again, well, okay, AT uses AT. Love it. I'm hoping the blue guys did that, because if a red guy did that, I'm just going to be angry. They just shot at him, and the NLAW launches and kills that remaining Rostec or whatever the IFE is. And he's gone. This is going to be close. Blue 4 outnumbering OPFOR 2-1 here. Their entire force is starting to come in. It's really funny because this team actually would be really effective if it came in, if it was like where this one OPFOR guy was, and if it started flanking where Blue 4 were coming in from, that would be game-changing. The only game-changing play OPFOR has is if Surin, who is on 4 kills right now, if he can get a big amount of kills back here, this would potentially change the game. That would put some relief. Actually, no, there's too much. There's too much Blue 4 coming in. I don't think it would be enough. Beautiful choice of targets there. These guys don't realize they're getting flanked. Can Surin channel his inner Audrey Hotto and win the match for OPFOR by going 20-0 and taking out as many Blue 4 as he can? Get that headshot. They're giving it to you. Get that headshot. Come on. Come on, I believe in you. Yeah, all right. Knockout's a knockout. I just cast or cursed his accuracy. Now, we do have players like Twig King that are rooftop campaign, so he'll be able to get a good amount of pickoffs. But he's under GL threat right now. Yes! Oh, that's a GPMG. No, he's gonna run right in front of you! No! Right under his nose the whole time. That was good, though. That was great. Got so many pickoffs back there. But it's not enough. Who's the unknown guy? Oh, you're just chilling in the back. Okay, I see how it is. Sometimes the best move in life is not to play and get yourself killed, right? I think OPFOR still have the number advantage in here, though. OPFOR still might win this. Random grenade just killed a Blue 4 guy. No! No, you're not! You're not team killing! Oh, no! That's where Blue 4's numbers went! That was a devious roll right there. God damn. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's tied. But Blue 4 could still bring in more. OPFOR have a few trailing behind. I have a feeling they're going to come in and get killed instantly. Every kill counts, and Twig is making that happen. Him and Surin back there, racking up some pretty big multi-kills. That is what's changing the tide right now. Holy shit, OPFOR might just barely win this on the skin of their teeth. I think Whale already headed out, but have fun, broski, if you're still here. And yeah, we were at like 202, 203 players at the beginning. It was 2 platoons and supporting elements, and it was pretty epic. OPFOR are down to 5. Blue 4 have 6. Something just happened, and OPFOR just lost 2 men. Both sides failed. If OPFOR cannot get another point tally... No. So there's 1 more point left to score. Oh, that was dirty. That was dirty, and I loved it. Snodgepair just noob-tubed with an N-Law. So there's 1 final point that can be scored, and that is whoever has control of the zone by the end of the game, which is in 10 minutes. The issue is right now the score is 3-2. Might fluctuate because I don't know if both sides at the 60-minute mark had 40 players. I'm assuming yes, and both sides got it. But that means OPFOR can only tie. In the event of a tie, I just refund the prediction. No one gains any points. Oh, that was a beautiful headshot. Oddball on 5. Twig on 8. He's trying to get down from here because he got shot. Will he get picked off as he climbs down the ladder? No, he makes it. They were on a reload, that's why. Fonz gets taken out in the open. OPFOR needs these 4 dudes to come in here. But they literally walked in from the opposite side of the AO. Another pickoff. You're seeing some OPFOR players here play some of the best PvP of their lives right now. Literally, it's these two doing a majority of the work. The other two have no kills. So it's just these two getting the knockouts and the pickoffs where they can. They're trying to get the double tap shots. Oddball on 6. Oh, but Twig just got taken out. Oddball gets the other kill. He's going to be on, what, 6 or 7 now? 7. Blue 4 only have 4 people left in the zone, and they've got 4 additional guys coming. You are not dragging ass. What are you doing waiting? There's literally less than 10. There's 8 minutes in the 6. Gotta give it credit to Blue 4's recon team. They only fielded 2 guys. They did get a noob tube kill, and then they actually were a distraction, and they got Twig King killed. So Blue 4 scouting team did somewhat okay. They did something. Op 4 scouting team, they're the guys that show up. You ever go to high school or college or primary school, whatever you call it, and you have this really big group project and this one asshole just doesn't show up to do any of the work and then comes in on presentation day going like, yeah, let's do this. That's this asshole right here. They're the cavalry, yeah. Ah, yeah, of course. Fuck. Here's the thing, though. Op 4 have 3 people in the zone. Blue 4 have 4. If Op 4 get the 4 in here, they win that final point. It's a tie game. So they're just waiting for these chuckleheads to get in, and they've got 5.5 minutes to do it. Custer returned with the cavalry. Oh, God. I think only Americans are going to get that reference. That's only if you paid attention in school. Goddamn. Oddball on 8 kills, though. He's on Twig King's kill count. But again, only incentive right now is the turtle. They're going to come in from an angle that doesn't even have any pressure on it. They might see one dude. Oh, no! Oddball gets killed off. But if these 4 make it, that's going to be 6-4, 6-5. Wait.
Let's give him a warm welcome.
6-5. Op 4 could beat it and tie the game up. What was that? Yeah, Twig on 8, Oddball on 8. It's the 8-kill curse. I don't think I saw anyone get above 8 kills today. Manco just got 1. That's going to make it 6-4. 4 dudes in the purple zone. It's going to be a tie game unless one side didn't have over 40 players. But the final score should be 5-5. Unless something weird happened and I didn't notice it. But first 2 points here went to Op 4. They get the final point for the zone, and then they get the 2 points for having 40 people alive at the 60-minute mark. That's 5 points. Blue 4 had the red zone for all the 30, 40, and 50-minute marks, and then they get the 2 points for Medicaid. That's 5-5 even. Green 4 wins. Yeah, right? Op 4 doesn't realize it, but it is their best interest right now not to engage and draw attention to themselves. Because they're literally green people in a gray building. And I think they just got noticed. There's still 4 minutes on the game clock. Baney is on 8. Is he going to break the 8-kill curse? No way. Oh, okay. I thought that actually got in the building. I'm like, oh. Oh! Beatty gets killed by the 8-kill curse! One of these dudes was packing a sniper! just had his head blown off across the block. 3 to 6 people now. OFCRA, no way they're not getting the point. 3 minutes left. The 8-kill curse continues. Tie game. The only way it's not a tie, because I didn't see the point tallies when it came up, is if maybe OFCRA didn't have 40 players, but I'm pretty sure they did at the 60-minute mark, because both sides started with a little over 100, which means they would have had to lose 60% of their force. I know OFCRA lost one of their platoons over here, but they didn't take any other heavy casualties just yet. Nah, this is it. Crazy back and forth here. Unironically, this was one of the coolest OFCRA missions I've seen. We saw accurate artillery. We saw crazy misplays. We saw silly scenarios. We saw some pretty sick shots. I was even wrong by giving an early call to Blue 4 to GG like 20 minutes ago because I thought the numbers were on their side. But those multi-kills at the end by OFCRA, and it ends in a tie game. At least I think it ends in a tie game. And the accuracy internationals in OFCRA usually are chambered in 338 Lapua. So it's bigger. That's it. 90 seconds. Neither side is going to be aggressive. They know. OFCRA knows by now if they just camp it, they're good. But all right. I take back everything I said about Recon, because without them coming in at the end, intentionally picking the widest angle to go around, OFCRA would not have won. That would have been so funny if that landed and killed 3 of them, and then it turned it into a tie thing and they didn't score points. That would have been so funny if I was proven wrong right there. Can you imagine if that GL came in and killed 3 of them on the spot? That would have been the final game changer. It would have been a Blue 4 victory, actually, because it would have gone 3 people to 3 people, tied out the objective, caused no one to score, wouldn't have given OFCRA the last point to tie up the game. It would have been a Blue 4 GG by a stray GL. That would have been nuts. I'd be screaming. Oh my god. Yeah, so the 2-point objective didn't even fire, so it's tied 3-3. 3 points on Blue 4 for there. Yeah, it didn't cash in the 40 objective, so it should be 5-5, but they got that final point there. Absolutely amazing. All right, guys, we will be back in a little under 3 hours. I have a really cool surprise to show you for POG. Get those wallets ready. We got to bully POG into oblivion. And remember, right now, if you're doing pay-for-paint stuff, you are funding Fallout operations. So, thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Cheers, and have a good one.